I want to get to the point quickly of what I'm looking for. I'm going to give you briefly, just briefly about my background. I'll tell you more at the end. 20 years ago, I was on my hands and knees begging for an opportunity. I was completely bankrupt. Cars were in repossession. House was in foreclosure. My life was an absolute wreck. Fast forward 20 years, I sold that company for multi millions. Now I'm on a mission to help that person, to help me 20 years ago. I'm going to need leadership. I'm going to need leaders to come in and help us fulfill this mission. I found an opportunity inside of real estate that fit four criteria that had to be met in order for me to fulfill the mission that I'm on. I am going to teach real estate agents to be real estate agents. I've built a business. I know what it's like to be a business owner. I know what it's like to be self-employed. Self-employed ain't cool. There's nothing great about it, I promise. Yeah, I think it's a step below being employed. And we can talk about that later. We can get in an argument about that later if you want to. But I think it's a step below being employed. There's nothing great about being self-employed. I want to teach people how to be business owners. I was blessed 20 years ago when this gentleman by the name of Fitz taught me how to make money while I was making money while I was making money. Now I'm on a mission to teach people that in a completely different business environment, the real estate world, but it's all the same. It's all about building businesses. And I am great at that. I'm not great at a lot of things. I barely graduated high school. I can barely spell, but I'm great at teaching people how to build businesses. Now, I had to find an organization that was going to put me in a place to fulfill this mission, and I found it. But before I tell you about that, let me tell you what the mission is. The mission is, like I said, to teach real estate agents to be real estate agents. I want you to own property. We have assembled a team. I have some great leaders already, and we've assembled a team of people that are going to teach you from A to Z how to start owning property, whether you want to flip, whether you want to buy and hold, whether you want to buy buildings, whatever it is. We've already put everything in place. Me and one of my business partners, Brian, we have a very unique perspective in the world that we came from, and we brought it over here, and we're going to show people how to use their retirement money, to build their real estate empire. Okay. So I'm going to need a group of leaders that come in here that say, you know what? I want to be on this mission with you. I want to help people. I want to help the next generation of real estate agents. I've came in here. I've opened my eyes to everything when it came to real estate. I looked at what's going on inside of the real estate world. And here's the troubling truth. Many real estate agents are going to do transactions till they die. And when they quit doing transactions, the money quits coming in. Okay. It's just a simple fact. I'm seeing it over and over. I've interviewed so many people, 45, 55, 65 years old, and they're concerned about all the wrong things. And some of them are too old for me they won't even let me coach them. Okay. First they say, well, you haven't been in real estate as long as me, so you don't know. Well, check back with me in about 5 years, and I promise I will surpass every one of your categories. It's not because I'm great. It has nothing to do with me. It's what I've been taught, and I can teach it to you. Okay. So I looked at the landscape of real estate and said, there's a challenge. Everybody's doing transactions. There's some talented people, but they're not building businesses. Okay. So I'm going to teach people how to build businesses. And the entrepreneurs that I'm looking for to help me lead this program, I've got some strict criteria from you. I'm not going to tell you what that is right now. Reach out to me. Let's talk about what it is. And let's see if we're a good fit for one another. But before I joined an organization, like I said, it had to meet four criteria. Number one, it had to have education and training. Why? I was new to real estate. I couldn't do all the education and training. And I know this, to be a successful business owner, you can't do all the education and training. You have to have a team in place that does it for you. If not, you'll never build a business that's successful and can run without you. This is something that scared me 20 years ago when Fitz told me this. You have to build your business and be such a great leader that when you walk away, the business grows without you. And in this platform, that's exactly what can happen. Now, if that hurts your ego because you think you control everything, because I'll talk to people and say, I don't want to hire people yet. I don't want to build yet because I don't know everything. That's your ego getting in your way. You don't have to do the education and training. We have the best education and training in the world. Here's why I say that. I looked at the landscape. I looked at the other platforms. They're in competition with each other. They're competing. Here, there's no competing. There's zero competing. Everybody's an open book. Our brokers aren't competing with us. Our brokers, you ready for this? When I talked to our brokers, they said, you know what? We work for you, not the other way around. I met this broker and they didn't know me from Adam. And I'm just asking them questions. And I said, I think y'all are the secret weapon to our organization. And they said, why? And I said, because the way y'all help us, the way we're a team. And he corrected me. He says, hey, I work for you. My job is to make sure you know what you're doing out there. Okay. So there's no competition. We have the best education and training in the world, worldwide. We can't be beat. I promise you that. Number two, we had to have some type of lead program. There's got to be some type of leads for people to buy into, to receive leads. There's got to be a great lead program available immediately for those people that need it. Now, I have an incredible source for getting leads that I learned from my other business that I can teach to you. It costs you nothing. It's free. And it works. It works massively. Okay. On top of what everything else we have, I have a lead program that I can teach you that's free. Number three, this was the most challenging for me when I sold my business. None of the people on my team were owners of the business. I had no way of giving out ownership to the team that I was building for 20 years. Drove me crazy, drove me insane. There was no ownership program for them. So I said to myself, going into this new mission, there has to be a way for the agents, for the people doing all the work, for the love of God. They need to have some ownership in this deal. Wow. And I found it. We are 75% agent owned when it comes to our stock that's traded on NASDAQ. There are so many incentives for you to get stock in the company. I met a young lady that was here from the almost the beginning, not quite, but she sold her stock for millions. She's still with us. She didn't sell it all, and bought property, bought some property. It's amazing. I mean, I was like, this is everything I've been looking for. And then lastly, there has to be some way to share the revenue. Okay. If there's not a way to share the revenue, you're just a bunch of employees. I've looked at other brokers out there and they think they're self-employed, but they're a bunch of employees, all they are. If there's no way to share the revenue, then you're just an employee. And the founder of this company, the man's a genius. And he found a way to say, hey, let's share the revenue. Let's give all the money back to the agents, the ones that are doing all of the work and bringing people in. For example, if you work at XYZ company and your buddy calls you up and says, hey, I'm getting a real estate license, where should I go? You're going to say, come to XYZ. The problem with that is at XYZ, they give you no money for that. Oh, thank you for inviting your friend. But you get no revenue for that. How would you like to get revenue for bringing in your friend to XYZ company? That's the only way this thing works. I did this in a prior business, and I came here and I saw this revenue share model, and I hadn't met the president and CEO at the time. I wanted to hug him. I said, this is absolutely genius. It's the same thing I've been doing over here in this world for 20 years. Now you've brought it into the real estate arena. Okay. So it had those four things, the ability, we called them overrides, to share revenue, whatever you want to call it. It's absolutely phenomenal. I want to tell you more about it. I want to talk to you. I want to help you. Listen, let me go back to what I was saying in the beginning. I didn't want to bore you with my details. 20 years ago, like I said, I was on my hands and knees crying. Cars were all repossessed eventually. I didn't lose the house then. I lost it a couple years later. Had to look at my wife, who picked out the colors of the walls, picked out everything from the cabinets to the quartz kitchen countertops. I had to look at her and say, "Listen, we can't stay here no more. They're kicking us out. We're so far behind on our mortgage payments. We can't be here." That's where I was. And in that process, inside of those 20 years, I also had a huge demon, a huge beast, an albatross across my neck called alcoholism. Thank God in 2012, I was able to walk away alive from that after 3 trips to the hospital. I'm not even going to get into that mess, but thank God I was able to walk away from that. So it wasn't just bad business decisions, it was some other bad decisions. In 2021, I got a tap on the shoulder, and what I believe is the greatest financial services company in the world, Integrity Marketing Group, said, "We'd like to buy your company." And it radically changed my life. I got to look at life from a different perspective, a different lens. And I was blessed to hang out with those guys for 3 years. It was amazing. I then started building my real estate business because I knew I needed to do something else. I've got all the money. Money's not the object anymore. The object now is to find that person, find me 20 years ago, who has no clue what it means. See, I was always like, I was a survivor. I love the fact that you survive. You always survive. That's the worst way of living. I want you to live in significance. And I'll teach you all of that. I can't teach you that right now. Please reach out to me. DM me all my information. My personal cell phone number is everywhere. My youngest daughter the other day says, doesn't it drive you crazy, Dad, your personal cell phone's everywhere? I said, no, it doesn't. Text me. If you're afraid to call, just text me and ask me a question. I don't care. I want to know you. I want to get to meet you. Everyone has a story. I would love to hear your story, and I would love for the world to hear your story. And I want to help you in what I believe real estate, the best business in the world there is, for you to generate and create wealth for generations to come. And I'd love the opportunity to teach you. Please reach out to me. Like I said, all my information's in the description, comments, everywhere you can find me. Facebook, YouTube, search Paul Dallas Roberts. You will find me, I promise. Go get yours. I am definitely getting mine.